Guys, I just started a Clips channel with memes, Easter eggs, gameplay, and so much more. Go and subscribe, it's linked in the description. Today, I'm going to go through every episode of The Bad Batch, choose the best scene from each episode, and then at the end, rank them from worst to best. Some episodes were amazing, some a little, come on, can we get this thing over with, please? Drag it on! Hey everyone, it's Andrew. Episode 1 makes it tricky to choose a single scene because this is the episode we saw Order 66. Along with the Bad Batch's arrival on Kamino, the mess hall fight, all of Tarkin's interactions with the Kaminoans, lots of stuff happening in this 70-minute opening episode. But how can we go past Order 66? The change of tone, the mood, there's a sudden stillness, and we all know what's happening. We've seen it multiple times before. The tragedy, the death of almost all Jedi. And then afterwards, the chase for Caleb is also pretty exciting. A Jedi all alone. That's like Rey in The Rise of Skywalker. Who are you? I'm Rey. Rey who? Raid Shadow Legends. The sponsor of today's video, man, I've been wanting to do that for such a long time. But seriously, playing this game is like the Battle of Exegol, in that you're going to raid bosses, dungeons, and other players. There's lots of them. Look at them all there. Like all the ships. You get the connection? All right. So it turns out a lot of people have actually played Raid. Over 76 million, with a million more well on the way. Okay, how many people live on Arc 2? Just one, right? So it's like 76 million more of these. So what I like about this game is that it has characters like Darth Maul's sister. Well, hey boss, you grew your hair out. And looking good, mate. It's Dex, back in his glory days. Seriously, there's some pretty cool characters though. You can take all of these guys into battle, upgrade them, face off against other players, and embark on campaigns to absolutely destroy these colorful warriors. They're constantly updating the game with new quests, tournaments, and this month there's a few new champions to collect, like this guy, Val the Destroyer, and Dark Kale, the healthiest champion. And to get a great head start in the game, just use the link in the description or scan the QR code, and new players will get Chonoru, esteemed character here, as well as 200k silver, 1 XP boost, 1 energy refill, and 1 ancient shard. So you can summon a champion as soon as you start playing. The extra rewards can be found here for the next 30 days. All right, episode 2 was set on Seleucami, where the Bad Batch meet up with Cutler Quain, which was really interesting because we got to see, you know, the clone brothers interaction. This is the clone deserter who didn't stick with the clones. But for me, the best part of this episode was actually the ending. Omega and Hunter share a moment after Hunter told Omega to go off with the Quains, and she disobeyed him and instead got herself mixed up in the middle of a battlefield with a bunch of clone troopers, nearly got everyone killed in the process. Already in this scene in episode 2, we're seeing just how intelligent Omega is. She tells him this is where she wants to be, with the Bad Batch, and this sets up their father-daughter relationship through the rest of the series. A touching moment. Hunter even admits he has a lot to learn. Episode 3 has a clear favorite for me, one of the darkest scenes of the entire series. Crosshair is about to execute the civilians who were hiding with Saw Gerrera's fighters. But then this soldier steps in and he's like,
"What are you doing? Gerrera's fighters are dead. These are civilians. We should bring them in."
And it's lines like, "We signed up to be soldiers, not an execution squad," that really show how the Republic has well and truly become the Empire.
You want to know why they put me in charge? It's because I'm willing to do what needs to be done.
He straight up shoots the soldier, and he tells the others to finish the mission, which they do. Off camera, we hear a blast of fire, no screams of pain or horror, just weapons. They didn't even have a chance. Alright, in episode 4, we meet Fennec Shand, and the best scene was the speeder chase, a huge Easter egg to the chase of Zam Wessel in Attack of the Clones. Really cool seeing that referenced. But the one single reason this is the best scene, the guy in his truck listening to some fresh tunes. Oh, and Omega nearly dies, Hunter flies in on a speeder bike, and Fennec kills a bunch of police, gets exploded out of the sky, and somehow survives. Alright, in episode 5, the Bad Batch meets Sid, and the boys have to go snatch the baby Rancor from the Zygerians, which was exciting because Omega saves the day, of course. How many more times is she going to have to do that? And Wrecker straight up wrestles with this Rancor. But all that said, I thought the best scene in this episode was actually meeting Sid and getting a tour of her office with the clone trooper and Mandalorian helmets on the wall, and she's, for some reason, this ultimate collector of Clone Wars memorabilia. Jango Fett's We-Star 34 blaster pistols on the wall. What is she doing? Who does she know? And who did she kill to get all this stuff? Also, we get a sense of the dynamic that sets the tone for the rest of the season. The Bad Batch get given an actual purpose, having to work for money as mercenaries. series, and Sid is quite the joker, having immediately crafted nicknames for all.
You, dark and broody, my office.
Episode 6, Droid Factory. Rafa and Trace Martez, filler. Omega's still learning how to use her bow, but it was cool seeing the Bad Batch reactivating the battle droids to take out the security droids and make their escape. Cool stuff, but we have seen it before. The best scene here was Wrecker hitting his head again. And having some Order 66 flashbacks going a little loopy and crazy in his brain.
Good soldiers.
Episode 7 was one of the best of the season, meeting up with Rex. He's back, and he's happy to see everyone, but then gets real serious once he learns they all still have their inhibitor chips, and dude looks like he's ready to take them all out. Ready to have a standoff in the bar here. It's like, all right, relax, mate. You're gonna fly halfway across the galaxy to get them taken out, and there's no real rush, you know? So they all travel to Braca, and Tech is about to extract Wrecker's chip, but... Stranglehold! Take him down! And they all die. But no, dear God, there's a giant overpowered super soldier hunting us all down. He basically takes out the entire squad and runs after Omega. And this is like some stuff out of a horror movie. Apparently the writers and the directors and the editors took out a bunch of shots because it was going to be way too scary and was like an actual horror film. There was a much darker version, an R-rated version, before they cut this down to child-friendly. But then luckily Rex stuns Wrecker and saves the day. Now, in episode 8, even though we get the reunion of Crosshair and the Bad Batch, and then Crosshair gets his face burned off by sticking his head in the Venator engine, I have to give the best scene to the ending. Hunter's showdown with Cad Bane. What a reveal. I really wasn't expecting to see him in the show. And of course, Hunter gets completely schooled. Shouldn't have even attempted this. And we also get the Republic Commando reference as we see Hunter being dragged away from his perspective through the helmet visor. Extra points for this for sure. Episode 9 was another tough one because we get all the fight scenes between Fennec and Cad Bane. We also see all the weird cloning equipment the Kaminoans have abandoned on Boravio. And I mean, come on. Cad Bane uses his rocket boots. But as cool as all these moments are, the ending of this episode is the best part of it. Omega is saved, and once again, she shares a moment with Hunter. Everyone's realized just how valuable Omega is, being a perfect unmodified Jango Fett clone, and they now know that Lama Su is the one sending the bounty hunters after her for the Kaminoans' contingency plan. But what Hunter does is really touching. He promises Omega she never has to return to Kamino. Didn't see that ending coming, did we? In episode 10, the Bad Batch ventured to separatist world Raxus Prime to save this senator. And I really enjoyed his speech at the beginning of the episode.
And as your senator, I promise to...
I love his hesitation. He knows he'll be arrested and potentially killed if he doesn't obey the Empire. But he can't do it. He can't lie to the people. He knows what he's doing is wrong. Also, the dude has a holographic monocle. Look at this thing. What's he doing with that? Come on. What a badass. Episode 11 was my favorite of the entire season, and it wasn't even focused on the Bad Batch. Traitor. But we did get to meet the clone with the slickest hair in the galaxy, Captain Howzer. I love seeing how literally no one has respect for Senator Tar, and I loved seeing Howzer's interactions with Cham Syndulla. The best scene I thought was the Twi'leks raiding the HAVW A6 transport at the end, and the tension between Cham and Tar. Cham's about to kill Tar, but is stopped by his wife. But the whole time, Rampart has been manipulating everyone. Hate how he's always in control, even if nobody realizes. What a great villain. Crosshair shoots Tar, and then all hell breaks loose, and the Syndullas are arrested. Meanwhile, Howzer's trying to make sense of everything that's happening before his eyes. He's following orders, but he's conflicted, and that's why it's so fascinating. Episode 12 has a clear favorite, Howzer's speech. Brothers, what are we doing? We were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them. Same thing here. And then brothers arrest brothers. It's tragic. It's heartbreaking. Clones turning on clones. We were brothers, Anakin. I loved you. The same thing here. A lot of crossover. Episode 13 takes the idea of filler to a whole other level. Best scene was probably when we all thought this guy was going to get beheaded. But this is Disney. They just cut off one of the horns. Episode 14, I had a real tough time choosing. Seeing Scorch back in action for the first time since Republic Commando was ridiculously epic. Dude takes like 4 stun blasts before he goes down, what a beast. But the actual escape, I think, takes the cake here. Again, there's so much tension in this scene. It's high action, jumping onto the ship, the dogfighting, Tech's insane piloting skills, the sound effects, and then Hunter falls and definitely should have died. I loved the return to Kamino in episode 15. I loved all of Crosshair and Hunter's arguments, the speeches, and the clashes of ideologies, but the ending, I'm afraid I have to say, was the best moment of the episode. Oh, I cry every time I see it. And the final episode, which, yes, I thought was a little underwhelming. Basically just they escape. And honestly, I think this could have been saved for season 2 if they'd left this season on a cliffhanger. Best scene here, I'm giving to AZ saving Omega and then dying. But wait, no, Crosshair saves the day. Disney, he can't die. All right, now it's time to rank all of the scenes from worst to best. Let me know what your ranking system is, what you rate all these scenes, but here we go. All right, 16th place goes to episode 13. Seriously, I mean, this whole episode, next to nothing interesting happened, so this scene takes it. All right, 15 goes to the boys meeting Sid. It's interesting, sure, but I mean, nothing super memorable here, and it wasn't like, you know, exciting. It's just like, hey, look, there's a clone trooper helmet on the wall. That's all it was. 14th, I'm giving to Omega and Hunter bonding in episode 2. Again, interesting and setting up their relationship for the rest of the season, but there's a lot more to come afterwards. 13th place goes to the chase through the city streets in episode 4. It's interesting, but again, it's not like heavy plot, so not as fascinating as some of the stuff that's coming later. In 12th place, we get the Monocle Man's speech on Raxus. I love that it, you know, it relates to the power of the Empire and all that. That's cool, but Monocle. 11th place, I'm giving to Hunter's promise to Omega from episode 9 that she'd never have to return to Kamino. Foreshadowing. Okay, 10th place is AZ's death. Wait, he's not dead in the finale. That's what I'm giving. All right, 9th place, Wrecker's Order 66 flashes during the Rafa and Trace episode. The only interesting thing that happened all episode. 8th place goes to Cham and Eleni Syndulla's arrest. They storm the place. Howzer's there. He's hanging out, but he's confused as to what's going on. 7th place is the epic standoff between Hunter and Cad Bane. The reveal of Cad Bane and the victory of Cad Bane. 6th place goes to Crosshair killing his squad mate and then getting his squad to execute the civilians. Probably, you know, looking back, it is one of the darkest, possibly the darkest moment in the entire series. Okay, 5th place goes to the Clone Commandos and escaping the facility on Daro. I love this sequence. The action, the editing was all there. All the tension was there, and Hunter gets caught, so not good for the boys. Okay, 4th place goes to episode 1's Order 66 sequence. Just because we get to see another side of Order 66. Sure, it's not necessarily my favorite version of Order 66, but always super dark and interesting and sad. Especially seeing Caleb have to deal with the death of his master, and I loved the stillness in this episode as well. Okay, 3rd place goes to Wrecker executing Order 66 and trying to kill his entire squad, almost succeeding and almost absolutely like tearing the head off Omega. Oh boy. All right, pointy end, 2nd place. I know some of you are going to want this in 1st, but I'm giving 2nd place to Howzer's speech. As important and as memorable as it was, I just have to give 1st place to Kamino being destroyed, because that's what we're going to remember from this series. That's the big thing that's happening. The end of an era. So, are there any scenes you thought should have been included in this episode that I missed? And how would you rank them? What's your ranking? Let me know in the comments. Leave it down below. I'd love to read all your guys as well. And for more Star Wars and Star Wars gaming, you can watch one of these videos here and come and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.